I'll ask Brother Jeff Polk with Fellowship Baptist if he'd give our afternoon prayer.
Let's pray. Merciful God, we call on you now and ask for mercy. God, we stand before you as sinners, not deserving of any grace, and yet you bestow on us grace day in and day out. Father, for this meeting, these men, these women, this community, God, we pray, Lord, you would bless us. God, your Spirit would pour out upon us. God, that you would be glorified with our tongues, with our actions, with our entire beings. God, that your name is honored. It's in Christ we pray these things. Amen.
Amen. Brother Polk, thank you for being here. I believe it's the first time you visited with us, isn't it? Second time. It's good to have you. Thank you. I call this meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mayor Johnson?
Here.
City Attorney Peoples?
Here.
City Treasurer Martin?
Here.
Counselor Pulliam?
Here.
Counselor Taylor?
Here.
Counselor Coleman?
Here.
Counselor McClendon?
Present.
Counselor Mundy?
Here.
Counselor Holt? Here. Counselor Tyrone?
Here.
Counselor Carter? Counselor Robinson?
Present.
And Counselor Catt?
Here.
9 out of 10 present, sir.
Heard from Counselor Carter, and he indicated he would be unable to attend. Oh, and we have no bid openings. Minutes, you have a copy of the minutes in your packet. Are there any additions or corrections?
Motion approved. So
I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They are approved. We have one special presentation under old business. Mr. Paul Phillips with Cruz and Associates is here to make a presentation to the City of West Memphis. At the recent Arkansas Municipal League meeting, the City Main Street program received an honor for a project that they had started and had completed and are now initiating another project. And Mr. Phillips wanted to come and make a personal presentation of this award, even though a couple of our council members received it at the Municipal League meeting. So Mr. Paul Phillips with Cruz, and I'll ask Reverend Coleman, since he has been involved in this, to come over also.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and members of the City Council, and certainly thank you for helping arrange this. As Mayor mentioned, I'm Paul Phillips. I'm Senior Managing Director with investment banking firm Cruz and Associates. And my office is in Little Rock, and it's certainly my pleasure, my privilege to be here today to recognize under the City of Arkansas Business City of Distinction Award, award that I think recognizes the efforts of not only the leaders of this community and the employees, but the volunteers and the other collaborators. And it's certainly an indication of some tireless efforts. And for that, at the end of the day, this is a competition, and somebody did go through the trouble to submit an application and entry, and there was a real live group of judges that's very experienced in evaluating these types of things. And as far as I'm concerned, I think it's an honor for the city of West Memphis to be recognized for their Main Street preservation efforts. I know you work hard everywhere, but it's nice to get some good news singled out from time to time. And I know at the Arkansas Municipal League Conference a couple of weeks back, you received an award in a big crowd at a big banquet, and it was a great honor. But I thought it was important to also come out here to the city and visit with people in the community and the leaders here and make a presentation in terms of the article that appeared in the publication and give you something that you can put on the walls and view for years to come and to continue to direct these successful efforts. So today I'd like to present this to the city of West Memphis, Mr. Coleman, Mayor, and something to be proud of and displayed in the halls of City Hall.
Philip, can I put this down here where we keep over? Don't kick it over. Always nice to have a positive note to start our meetings on. Yes. And we'll finish it on the same note. Ms. Robinson, I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to say good afternoon to everyone. And I'm so glad to see all of you here today Thank you very much for coming. I heard from many of you, some of you I didn't hear from, but I was most certainly hoping you would be able to be in attendance. Black History Month, of course, is this month, February. The City of West Memphis has an ordinance on the book that West Memphis honor the month of Black History, February. And in doing so, we select a particular profession each year to honor. We've been doing it for about 10 years. So this year, we selected the beauticians and the barbers who have businesses, licensed businesses to operate in the city of West Memphis. So that's what got you here today, that you've gone to the city clerk's office, you have gotten your privileged license, you own your business, you're operating out of your business, and for that I thank you. I'm just going to read just a little bit about Black history. During the dawning decades of the 20th century, it was commonly presumed that Black people had little history besides the subjugation of slavery. Today, it is clear that Blacks have significantly impacted the development of the social, political, and economic structures of the United States and the world. Credit for the evolving awareness of true place of Blacks in history can, in large part, be bestowed on one man, and that man's name is Carter G. Woodson. And his brainchild, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History Incorporated, is continuing Woodson's tradition of disseminating information about Black life, history, culture, and the global community. Known as the father of Black history, Woodson, born in 1875, passed away in 1990, was the son of former slaves and understood how important gaining a proper education is when striving to secure and make the most out of one's divine right of freedom. Although he did not begin his formal education until he was 20 years old, his dedication to study enabled him to earn a high school diploma in West Virginia and a bachelor and master's degree from the University of Chicago in just a very few years. In 1912, Woodson became the second African American to earn a PhD at Harvard University. Recognizing the dearth of information of the accomplishments in Black in 1915, Dr. Woodson founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, now called the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. Under Woodson's pioneering leadership, the association created research and publication outlets for Black scholars with the establishment of the Journal of Negro History in 1916. In 1926, Dr. Woodson initiated the celebration of National Negro History Week, which corresponds with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. And in 1976, his celebration was expanded to include the entire month of February. And today, Black History Month garners support throughout the country as people of all ethnic and social backgrounds discuss the Black experience. So today, in honor of all the work that Dr. Woodson has done, he has an ornament that always hangs on the tree at the White House during Christmas time. And that brings us to you today, the beauticians and the barbers who work so hard trying to make us look our prettiest. In spite of all that we go, and most handsome as well, in spite of all that we go through, we're gonna get that hair done. You know, we're going to do that. I float a lot of styles myself. Frank Martin is always looking at my styles that I have on my head. But these ladies right here are responsible for us looking so good. So we have a very lengthy, it's not that lengthy, but what I'm going to ask you to do, and this is not going to be called in any particular order, we're just going to ask the owner of that shop and maybe a representative, if you have one, to come with you and receive your certificate of appreciation. Basically, they're going to all read the same. So after I read the first one, to cut back on time, we're going to just call the name of that particular shop. The City of West Memphis, and the certificate reads, the City of West Memphis Certificate of Appreciation by the Honorable William H. Johnson, Mayor. Be it known that on this second day of February 2012, La Rose House of Style is awarded this certificate in grateful recognition of the art of cosmetology and hair design in the city of West Memphis. And this is signed by your mayor, William Johnson. It's La Rose House of Style. Is there a representative here for her? Then we're not going to waste any more time. The beauty shop. All righty, here she is. Just tell us who you are when you get up here, and Mayor, you'll come with me. You can shake your hand.
Hey, how you doing?
Just tell us who you are and have a word if you like.
I don't know a whole lot of you all. My name is Kika Sparks. I'm a native of West Memphis. Actually, I actually work for the city as well as own my own business in the city. So that lets you know I love West Memphis.
Thank you. And you'll have to stand, stand here for our photo opportunity. Ladies touch. Clippers, we're getting to the men now. Clippers. Mr. Jack. And we'll hold our applause
All right. On the operator, Clippers Barbershop, I'd like to tell everybody that say, keep up the good work you guys are doing in the community. And my guy Junior here, he's a good worker with me, works with me in the barbershop, and we just try to keep everybody together and bring everybody together through Christ. So if we all get together, keep them head looking good, I think we can be all right and successful in this town.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Stephanie's Hair I Am. Stephanie's Hair I Am. All right, I like that name.
I'm Stephanie of Stephanie's Hair I Am in barbering. I just want to thank y'all for considering us this year. I really appreciate it, and I want to say hi to all my fellow beauticians and barbers.
All right. Blessed Beauty Salon. Blessed Beauty Salon. Okay. Smart Style number 376. That's Walmart. You go in there and they're just clipping everybody's and perming and everything else.
My name is Yolanda Clay. I'm not a resident of West Memphis as of yet, but I am moving here. I am the new manager of this salon, Smart Styles. We are located inside Walmart. And I do color, cuts, everything you need. We got it, so come see us.
Helen's Beauty Shop. No recognition. Christine, Ephesians Hair Salon. The Book of Ephesians. Expressions Hair Salon. Expressions. You all let them know what a treat they've missed today, all right? Seven Salon. All righty, I've talked with her. I talked with the few, and they were just not able to make it today, and we must certainly understand that, and we will get them their certificates.
Good evening, everyone. I'd just like to say thank you to the City of West Memphis for recognizing Seven Salon. And I also would like to thank you again for the staff in their absence because they are busy right now beautifying the city. Thank you.
Jet Adore Professional Hair. Jet Adore, wow. Is that a mother-daughter combination there? That's beautiful.
Which one's the mother?
Well, that was a political answer.
They're smiling just the same.
First of all, I want to thank the City of West Memphis on behalf of Jet Adores. I don't know if everyone knows what Jet Adores mean, but Jet Adore means I adore you in French. This is the beginning of a legacy. I have both my daughters working for me, that's the other one, and my son is getting ready to go to barbering school. My biggest goal is soon to open up a beauty school in West Memphis. And it's going to happen. And I truly believe in giving back to West Memphis. That's my goal.
All right, thank you so much. New Age Beauty Salon. The Diamond Cut District. Wow. I believe this is the son of one of our former council members, is that right? Gary Bruce?
Not me.
Oh, where is he?
Right here.
Oh, come
Oh,
on.
he made it.
That's the son.
We represent Diamond Cut District, 506 North Missouri Street. This is Mr. Gary Bruce' son, BKA Dinky. Everybody know him as Dinky. We just want to say thank you to the mayor and the city council and all the competition chat. Y'all will make us keep going. You can say something.
I just want to say thank you.
All right, thank you. Both unlimited styles and cuts.
Well, I'm Mike Young from Vulgar Limited Styles and Cuts, and just like Jedidor here, she has her 2 daughters working with her, but I have my 2 sons working with me, and then I have some more people in there, and I tell you, we just having a good time over there. So, y'all come out and see us. Hey, if y'all not competition with us, you know y'all family with us.
All right, sounds great. Jackie, all about hair. Jackie? Jackie's not here. Faith Hair Design. Faith? Without faith, it's impossible to please him. Totally committed? All right, totally committed. Who's here? All right.
Hi, this is Totally Committed Beauty Salon, and it's actually totally committed to Jesus Christ. I just thank and praise God for y'all having us here. And my name is Cynthia Williams. This is my mother, Corinne Williams.
All right, thank you so much. Barber and Beauty Connection. Barber and Beauty Connection. That's it. Fran's Beauty Shop. Fran, come on, Miss Fran.
Well, I'm Fran Jefferson, owner of Fran's, and I've been around a long time. I've been licensed in West Memphis, I think, since '78. So
Wow.
West Memphis can't be all bad since I've been here that long.
All right. I like this name as well, Wrap and Roll. Wrap and Roll? All righty, come on.
I would like to say thank you to West Memphis as well, the City Council for coming up with honoring barbers and beauticians. I am the owner. My name is Patrice Brewer. I'm the owner of Wrap and Roll. We bring a way for people to come get their hair done economically, since the economy is kind of hard. So that's pretty much what we do.
I've heard about you. VIP Cuts and Styles. VIP. I think this is husband wife duo.
Hi, my name is Virginia Gray, and this is my husband, Curtis Gray. We are actually husband and wife, and we are the owners at VIP Cuts and Styles. We're located at 111 South 5th. We invite anyone that would like to come out. I mean, we're there faithfully. My husband, rather, is 5:30 in the morning, and we're there 7 days a week. And we too would like to thank the city of West Memphis.
All right,
Correct.
thank you. Gatina's Hair Salon. Gatina. There she is. She's been here a long time too.
Okay, I'd just like to say thank you to the city of West Memphis and everybody. And I had a fall when I came in here, so I'm still nervous from it because I have developed a vision impairment. But thanks, everybody.
All right, be careful. Stilettos on, walking tall. Essence Beauty Salon, Essence.
Just want to say I appreciate the honor that you're giving us this month. And I'm one of the owners here today of Essence, because my husband wasn't able to meet me today, come with me, he's at work. He's not going to stop making no money. So he's sending me to take his part, but I appreciate it, and we are the couple of Essence staff and customers, everybody else is at work, so I thank you.
And I love those nails.
Thank
Charlotte Salon, Charlotte.
I just want to say thank you. It's truly an honor, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Smooth Cuts. Guess he was a little too smooth to be here today, but we know who that is. Larry Styles Salon. He told me he wouldn't be here. T&J's Beauty Salon. T&J's. And the last one is Salon Laron. All right. How you doing? Excuse me.
I'm Nell Terrell, and I'm the owner of Salon Laron. And on behalf of me and my barber, I have a barber also, but he's on another job. To all the fine beauticians and barbers of West Memphis, it is a privilege and an honor to receive this from West Memphis, the City Council, and our mayor. And thank you.
So I take it that everybody else out here, visitors coming to support. I would like to say thank you again, and we want to do a photo op. I don't know how
That's a good question.
we're going to do this because there are so many of us.
It might be best to break it up into thirds.
Okay,
And then just do 3 pictures.
and I would like to have a copy of that. You can email it to me.
We will come back to our agenda. I believe everyone's back on the floor.
Every month, just as
Yes. Who are we missing?
Marco, I think they're here, they're just wandering around.
Yeah, there.
I will send an email.
We'll
Tracy,
move
but
back to
we'll
our
try get
agenda.
back on track.
I'd like to take a moment and thank Lorraine Robinson for the tireless effort she's put into this program. It's hard to realize how much work there was in this program. It was a rather large group this time. It took a lot of contacts, a lot of work. I think it went off well. It was smooth. It was obvious that the recipients appreciated what was done. And Lorraine not only put a lot of time and effort in this, she put a lot of her own money into it also. So Lorraine, on behalf of the city, thank you for what you've done.
Thank you, and I'd like to thank.
Thank you.
And I would like to thank Dorothy Wallace and Rhonda for getting all the certificates ready. I offered my help, but they just didn't want my help. So they put all those certificates together and framed them, and I appreciate them so much.
And I charged the frameworks to the council travel account.
There you
That
go.
sounds good.
There you go.
Appropriate slide.
So now you know what that was, Budget Chairman.
I got you.
Okay, moving on back on the permission request, we need permission to shred the 2006 financial records.
So move.
Second.
All in favor by aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mayor, Alderman Cat, he's volunteering to stand and watch.
Will the record so note that Mr. Cat has volunteered to observe as per the state law? The next item is the request regarding Mayfair Apartments. We initiated this discussion in pre-council and were unable to complete it, and we'll bring it back to the floor. For the public's record, a group has entertained the idea of buying the Mayfair Apartments. They've applied for a loan through ADFA, and one of the requirements for an ADFA loan is they must have a letter of support from the mayor. I felt that,
Or the majority of the council.
or the majority of the council, and with the information been provided me over the years, and I know in the feeling of the council, I declined that opportunity and suggested that they come to the council and get some feedback from the council on this matter. So that's where it is today. They've applied for a loan. They have not been assured the loan at this time, but if they receive the loan, they want to rehab the Mayfair apartments and open them back up to low and moderate income recipients, a project that we support. We've supported in our city from start to finish and always will. But there was a lot of discussion for the last few years about those Mayfair apartments and the stigma that's been attached to them. I'll just put it that way. So knowing the feeling of the two council members that represented that area, I suggested that they come to the council today, and a representative of the company that is applying for the loan is here. I believe the company's in Idaho. I believe I don't know whether he's from Idaho or not. And a local architect is here with some renderings. And with that having been said, we'll get back to it. And Jane?
I had a question I would like to ask before. First of all, number one, I know they're requesting to, I'd like to know what the timeline is, because first of all, number one, I mean, out of concern, some things to come up, in our discussion. I mean, I'm just trying to see how much time that they have, a couple.
Mr. Free, would you come to the microphone?
Couple, if they could wait the next council meeting, because I think we need to kind of chuck this around a little bit, and therefore,
Would you introduce yourself? He can probably answer those questions.
Yeah, okay. That's what I wanted before we,
Okay.
Thank you. My name is Fred Free. I work for Community Development, Inc., which is a nonprofit affordable housing developer, and we're located in Caldwell, Idaho, a couple miles away. Thank you very much for entertaining our request today, and thank you for this time in front of the council and the mayor. I will address your question directly. It's about timing. Is that correct?
Well, okay, you was requesting this particular letter, and that's what I was trying to see, how much time did you have, because, just from discussion, I mean, I just like to toss it around and see what's what before we, I mean, that's my feelings on it.
Certainly. Timing is not good.
Okay.
The actual application, we haven't actually submitted the application yet, Mayor, because one of the threshold requirements is a letter of support from the council or from the mayor. And so we don't have that yet. I'm here in the state to actually physically deliver the applications tomorrow, assuming we get a letter of support.
Okay. Well, my question is, would 2 weeks help? I mean, hurt?
Yes, because the deadline is tomorrow. And there's no give on those deadlines. Just to add a little more information, we would have to wait another year to apply again if we don't get the approval today.
Maybe there's just an error in this letter that you wrote the mayor, but it's dated January the 22nd, 2012, and it says the application's on June 27th.
That apparently misprint. I picked that up also. It says it has to be submitted by June.
If I can clarify.
Okay.
At that time, there were two applications we were going to submit. One was for a program called the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. That application due date was January 27th.
Okay.
We decided not to apply for that. The low-income housing tax credit and the home funds deadline is tomorrow, February 3rd. And that's when we still hope to apply for.
But your letter says June, I believe.
Yeah, it says June, like
June
we've
the
got
27th.
6 months to kind of work through this, which I think might be more
Your letter of January
feasible.
24th says June.
I have no idea where the June date came from. That's all I can say. It's an error. We would have to submit the applications tomorrow with the letter of support, or they would not be considered for funding.
Do you have anything, documentation showing that the letter has to be submitted by tomorrow?
I do in my car. I didn't bring it in with me, but yes, I have a copy of what they call the Qualified Allocation Plan, which Arkansas Development and Finance Authority issues every year for the allocation of these low-income housing tax credits.
Now, I know you're wanting an approval for the mayor to sign a letter of some sort, but this is our city, our town, where we've lived, most of us, all of our lives. And I'm just really concerned because Mayfair is most certainly an eyesore and something needs to be done, but I just don't know if this is the right thing. If we had more time, as Councilman Pulliam said, to kind of toss it around, talk more to the constituency, explain what you have to offer, because right now, even though it looks bad, most of the people I talk with in that ward, is the ward that I represent, they really do not want another apartment building, that complex there.
I understand that the time frame is very short and you don't have enough information about this, and we have not had a chance to address the community, which certainly has a right to have some say in what happens on that property. I'm just speaking off the cuff here because I wasn't sure what kind of a response we would get from the council. But if the council would consider or would approve issuing this letter, we would commit to coming back and meeting with the community and with the council again. And if you decided you didn't want to proceed with it, we would agree to withdraw our application.
Excuse me?
That would keep it in play, but we could, after you have more information and meet with the neighborhood.
So you saying, for the record, if we decide, if we approve it, and we later on we decide that we do, that you will withdraw your application?
Yes, if at a later date, after meeting with the neighborhood and getting you more information, if you're not comfortable with it moving ahead, we would agree to withdraw the application. Because basically, that would mean if you had had time to consider it originally, you wouldn't have issued the letter of support.
That's a question here. Even if we do the letter of recommendation, before they can start any type of renovation, we would have to approve, the city would have to approve anyway, wouldn't we? Or would we not?
They would have to come back and meet our zoning and planning requirements and go through all the normal process that a developer would have to go through.
So they would have to come back anyway?
It's quite possible. You might want to get Mr. Luker and address him with what would be required of them.
Excuse me. I got a couple questions. Even with saying that, if it is approved, and long as if we approve it now and you all get the funding or whatever you need, once you come back to this to the city, it wouldn't be a factor of coming before the council. It'd just be a factor of meeting our requirements, right? So they want to proceed regardless if some of the people in the ward that I represent was not comfortable with that new project, they still could move forward, right?
Yes.
My question would be, in the condition that those apartment complexes in, I know this may be an architectural question, are you planning on tearing them down and rebuilding them, or what would be the plan for that?
Yes, and perhaps Mr. Emberton from Hudspeth Gary Architects would bring up the renderings and show them again. But yes, some of the units there would be demolished and not replaced. The rest of them would be they'd be demolished on the interior, and the roofs would be replaced. They would be totally renovated, but we're not going to take all the buildings down.
Our intent is to do two things. One is to completely redo the apartments. We're going to be taking out 70 of the 180 units. We would be reducing then the density down. We would be reducing the number of parking spaces, and by doing this, open up the site. Wouldn't be as tightly packed. Wouldn't be as many people there. Take out parking, put in landscaping and some amenities, a larger clubhouse with features inside there that would be, besides the manager's office, there would also be laundry facilities, a computer room, exercise room, a swimming pool is one of the amenities we're adding, and largely just reducing the footprint of the apartments, increasing the green space around them, and renovating all the old apartments into some that look like brand new apartments and that will service the community as brand new apartments. The site plans. This has the two facilities split into two phases. They would be done at the same time, but they're split into two different projects. On this side, the closest to the interstate, these are townhouse apartments, all of them, and they would be redone as townhouse apartments. On the side closest to Barton Avenue, Those are what I call flats, that where you have one apartment unit on top of another. And again, they would be redeveloped as flats. The only difference being we're taking buildings out, putting in playgrounds and swing sets and green space. We're putting in where buildings used to be gazebos and basketball courts. You know, all I can say is that our effort here is to reduce the number of people, increase the amount of amenities, and take an eyesore and a hazard, a health hazard, and turn it into a serviceable facility. That was our effort and our design goal. If there's any other questions about the buildings or the site development, I'll be glad to talk to that.
I'm sorry.
I do have a few questions. I guess this other question may be, I don't know, Paul may can answer it. I really would feel comfortable personally because I've been on council myself 10 years, and I think Ms. Robinson about 14 years now. And from the people that live, that are buying homes that surrounds that area, it's been a grave concern due to the criminal activity, all of the things that have happened. And we have had, I think, a few people that have came with different proposals. And I think at one time that we did approve something and it never happened. And I mean, I personally would be comfortable with saying okay without talking to those people who are investing $80,000 to $100,000 within their homes without at least you all coming to a community meeting, talking with them. I guess one of my questions would be with Paul is, Mayfair has been an ISO for so long, and if someone don't come in and do something with it, how long is the existing structure going to continue to be up? Because it's been up, abandoned for how long? 15, 20, no, I would say 20 years.
10 years.
But, no, a little longer than 18 years.
It's been abandoned for at least 12 years.
12
because
years.
It was not abandoned when I first ran for office. It was occupied, so for a good 12 years.
Do you have the organizational authority to say that you can pull an application once it is submitted?
I do, based on the fact that we would not do something that the city would not want us to do.
Does his statement, being on our record, carry any weight as far as us contacting ADFA? And so you're shaking your head no, that really...
The statement is what
It'd
is
just
is
be a
worth what
gentleman's
it's worth.
agreement.
Yeah.
Gentleman's agreement.
Well, I've got a concern. My biggest concern is these apartments have been, of course, it's not, I know it's Alderman McClendon's and Robinson's award. I understand that, and I respect that. However, they've been vacant for 12 years, so it's apparent what the current owner is going to do. If we don't allow these people or somebody to move forward, they're just going to sit there and become more of an eyesore because it's going to take a lot of money I think Alderman Holt made that fact in pre-council. It would take a lot of money to tear them down and haul off all debris. And I don't think the current owner would do it. So we may be basing our decisions on what has happened in times past. Of course, I understand that history, have a way of giving us an idea of what the future is going to bring, but at the same time, I think we need to be kind of cautious in doing things because we may do something that we end up with those same apartments in a worse condition 5 years from now, still sitting there. That's my biggest concern about not moving forward. I think that if we did move forward, that the city should definitely monitor real close to make sure that the gentleman's words are being honored. But I'm kind of concerned about not moving forward because they'll just sit there because we already know what the current owner is going to do. That's my concern.
Are there any security measures, just say?
Yes. There's a lot of details we haven't filled you in yet on. There will be a perimeter fence around it, and it will be gated. And then we will also have security cameras on the exterior of the property. And by the way, we are in the middle of installing a security system across all of our properties that sends those security feeds back to our central location where they're recorded. So it's not like it's just on somebody's laptop computer and it gets lost the next day. No, we will be able to track all of that information.
And the upkeep of the property?
The upkeep is on us, but it is monitored in at least two different ways for all of these tax credit projects. The ADFA has to do monitoring on an annual basis, although they may only do a physical inspection every other year. But the investor also will do an annual inspection. In these properties, for example, in one of them, where the total budget's about $6.7 million, there'd be almost $5 million in private equity invested into that. And that's a lot of investment, and they take an interest in making sure that it's kept up well and that value is there throughout the period that they're involved in the ownership. Third thing is that Community Development, Inc. Owns the company that will manage these properties. And there is a possibility that in the long term, we would own it outright. The tax credit program only requires the tax credit investor to be involved for 15 years, and after that, they can sell it at a reduced price to the nonprofit sponsor. And that is really our long-range strategy for building our organization is ownership of these properties. So we have a vested interest to make sure they're maintained and maintain value.
Are you currently managing other properties that you have moved from tax credit to?
Well, all of the ones we currently own are less than 15 years old, so they still have the private investor involved. But yes, we manage over 2,500 units.
But not under your own ownership. Now, they're all still under tax credit in the 15 years, and I understand, so that makes...
Right. There are a few other properties that we have developed with other financing that we do own outright ourselves and manage ourselves. Probably about 100 units total.
Tracy.
Mayor, if I may ask the council to entertain a motion to approve the project subject to, and it's very strict, that AFA will approve the project, and then you'll have to come back and make a full presentation to the members of that community. And if they object, it will stop at that point.
Yeah, second.
Do you have corporate authority to make that decision?
I do. Could I add one thing?
You've never been involved in this before because Jerry Gunstream has been the one I've been in contact with all the way through.
Right. I do. I can get the confirmation from our CEO back to you by tomorrow. Let me just also state that the approval process takes about 5 months for ADFA. So we would be able to come back and make the presentations that we discussed in much less than 5 months. So we would know before they make their final decision.
So actually, if the mayor were to sign the letter today, that would give you authority to do what or to receive what?
That would give us authority to make the application. ADFA would accept our application, and then they go through their vetting process for all of their applications. And then according to their schedule, the final decisions aren't made until around the beginning of July.
I'm just very, very sorry. It's just that I've been around for so long and I've seen so much and so many things, and we don't know who you are. Many developers will come from outer state, and once they get our approval, they're gone and leave West Memphis with the problems behind.
Right.
So I would like to see that in writing before I vote on it, that you are going to do what you say. Because a gentleman's handshake is one thing, but when you put that pencil to the paper, that's something totally different.
I want to make a statement, and along with what Ms. Robinson's saying, and certainly no disrespect to anyone, but the letter that you have forwarded to me to sign, at one place, I received a letter on the 24th of January. It says we have a June the 27th deadline. I had received another letter on January the 22nd that said you have a June the 26th deadline. The letter that you asked me to sign said there'd be probably 118 units. Now today you're telling us 110. Now what else will change if this letter's signed? That's what bothers me. The inconsistencies in this whole project bother me. And I have a problem with that.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
you know, as far as the project goes, there's no doubt something needs to be done at that site. Anything would be better than what there is now. A project of this magnitude, I question why you come in here with such a sense of urgency, last minute wanting us to hurry up and sign this letter to move your project on, where things of this nature typically take months of planning and preparation, and I would have thought you would have been here months ago trying to do this.
I understand. And we were here in December 2010 looking around and thinking about other potential projects in the Crittenden County area, including West Memphis. Throughout this year, Jerry Gunstream was the person from our office. It was the point person who did contact the mayor from time to time. He wrote the letter that the mayor speaks of. And he would have been here today, except he had some personal business that he had to take care of, and he had to withdraw from participation in this application process.
Yeah. And the letter he addresses was dated January the 23rd.
It makes me very skeptical, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and the only other thing that I can tell you, and I don't want to sound defensive, I understand it's a short time frame. We did not believe that this property was going to be available. We tried contacting the owner at 3 or 4 different times during the last year. When we contacted him at the end of last month, at the end of December, all of a sudden they were interested in selling. And so it left us with a very short time frame. We did the best we could. I agree there were mistakes made, and I apologize for those. But this is where we are today.
With no disrespect to the gentleman here, City Attorney, is that motion on the floor, is that a legal motion? And the reason why I'm asking, because we can approve it, and now, I'm not saying that you are, but you all can say that you will pull it back, but if they decide that they ain't something they want to do, if they got approved, I mean, there's nothing we can do about it.
Well, you were correct, there's a motion and a second on the floor. This is the discussion that's following that motion.
Is that motion binding, I mean, for us, subject to the approval of the council if they come back?
If they have your approval to apply for the mayor's signature on the letter of support for their application, that pretty much is a done deal. Now, whether or not that's going to change later on, whether or not, I don't know if that can force them to come back, because you can't retroactively deny their application for funding. So I'm not sure what legal effect that would have.
Mr. Mayor, could I make a suggestion? Because of the short time frame, our CEO is working today, and Idaho is an hour behind Arkansas. I could contact them before the end of the workday today and see if I can get him to send a letter that commits to agreeing to 2 things. Commits to doing one thing, withdrawing our application, but it would be based on 2 things, I think, that I proposed. One is that we did have the community meeting and presented our plans to them and got their feedback. The second thing would be that we would bring that feedback back to the City Council to see if the City Council still wanted to support our application. And if at that point in time the City Council did not want to support it, we would withdraw it.
Okay.
Well,
and we could get that to you in writing this evening.
Tracy to come back, but according to what the city attorney says, none of it has weight. So I'm waiting on him to come back, because I'm going to withdraw my second, because if it has no weight, then it's no use. It's just trying to move it along to see what's what, but according to what you're saying.
Well, let me just kind of clarify. What you're being asked to do here today is to give a letter supporting their application for the funding. And if that letter is given and they make the application for the funding, even if there's discussion about coming back later and making presentations and having any other stipulations put on that, if those stipulations aren't met, there may not be any consequences that could follow from not doing those things, other than getting a little sour taste in our mouth about the fact that it didn't follow through. But there wouldn't be anything that you could do then to go back and stop that project or something.
I think I hear Tracy coming back with the information that he was seeking.
Yeah, that's a question. If we gave a letter of support and ADFA made the loan partially based on our letter of support, and we came back and changed our mind about the letter of support after they'd made the loan, what was going to happen?
Jason McVeigh, this gentleman that works for ADFA. I've known Debbie for a long time, and she passed me through to him. The deadline is 4:30 tomorrow. If it's not in by then, it will not be granted. The June information that's in the letter is when the board at ADFA will actually make their final decisions on which projects they're going to approve. So that just clear up those date issues.
Okay.
But it has to have a letter from the mayor or from the city council support for this project to even be considered.
Mr. Free has made the statement that he could get a letter from the CEO of the company agreeing to these stipulations this afternoon.
But it still goes to what the city attorney.
After that loan's made, it's not gonna have any
According
impact.
to what he said, that's what.
What's that?
If, what we're being asked to do is to provide a letter of support for their application. And if that letter, if that application is successful and the funding is made available to them, whether or not they follow through with any of the stipulations and suggestions and requirements that you may put on them or ask of them now would not have any bearing on whether or not they could go back. You couldn't go back and have their funding withdrawn or stop the project. If the project meets all the criteria for development, it would go ahead and.
I mean, I can call Jason back, but in my years of working with ADFA over the last 30, one or two things is probably going to happen with that board. They're going to instruct that you remove the conditions from this letter, or we're not going to approve the application. Most likely, they're not going to say, okay, we're going to approve it with these conditions hanging out there, knowing ADFA and the way they work. So they're not going to want a loose end.
Which would buy time for them to have the community meeting and the council members from that area to get a clearer sense.
I mean, I can confirm that with Jason real quick, won't take me but a minute. So.
Because being living in that ward, I'm stuck between the rock and the hard spot with the decision. The reason why is because definitely the people in that area are very concerned. Me and Ms. Robinson both we live there. So, I mean, we walking distance from that area, so we concerned about the investments and buying homes and all the people there. But on the other end, if we don't approve it, how much longer are we gonna go with this also in our community?
That's a problem. That's a problem.
I think that's a call, actually, that you and Ms. Robinson have to make. You have to live with the constituents down there, and whatever they tell you is what you're going to have to live with.
That's why if they could give us, if we could have the 2 weeks somewhere, but the application deadline prohibits that.
Now, let me say this to clarify things. In the next item on the agenda, I will be pulling on Pine Ridge.
Okay.
I gave a letter of support to ADFA on Pine Ridge for this reason. The Pine Ridge apartments are 100% occupied. They have affordable housing on each side of them and across the street from them. The money will be used solely to rehab those units at $33,000 apiece on the same exact footprint that exists at the present time, as well as add some bicycle trails and walking trails. Now, I approve that, but they are there, they're 100% occupied, they are in a neighborhood of apartments, and they're not going to change the footprint. And I think that's an entirely different situation.
Question is, even if this is approved, don't they have to get a permit just to start work on these apartments?
Sure.
Well, then, why would we have to give that?
We couldn't withhold that permit for no reason. We couldn't just say, no, we're not going to issue a building permit. It's zoned right.
Okay.
And the zoning's correct down there. So we couldn't just arbitrarily withhold a building permit because we were mad at it.
Okay, so now if these people, this organization, say if we deny them, if somebody else comes in that have the money to build, then they could just go ahead and build and nothing we could do.
And they could build back 180 units, and, I mean, they could build back into the exact same footprint, concrete, everything would be the same.
110 units if they wanted to.
Yeah, the design review, but that would be.
But your design review is just the settings
That's
more
why
than
I say
anything else.
I mean, it's easy for them to meet, so, it's not like it's going to be
So
complicated.
the real issue is not apartments, whether it's apartments single family. The issue is whether we're willing to help them get finance, because that's really
under the conditions that exist, yeah.
I would.
Well, of course, say something on Pine Ridge, of course, you can tell, a lot of people don't even know what Pine Ridge is.
That's right.
So
It's
they
not
let
in
you
a
know.
it's not in a residential
They
area.
let you know that, you know.
It's an old complex that need renovating, and they're gonna spend $33,000 a unit on it. But that project is like this one. It's not funded yet either. Was Tracy making another call? I think he was.
In the interim, could I make another informational statement, just to make sure the council has all the information? In the past 10 days, we've also been working with Arkansas Land and Farm Development Corporation, which is a community housing development organization that has some affordable housing experience. They also help farm owners maintain their farms and try to become profitable. They're also involved in single-family home ownership programs, and they have been active in Crittenden County. They are going to be a partner in this project if it gets approved for the application. We have signed agreements with them now as of today. So
That's the first I've heard of that.
Yes, I know that is new news. A lot has been happening very quickly.
In speaking with Mr. McVeigh, we issue a letter, it could have 10,000 conditions attached to it. Once the project's approved, we could rescind that letter 10,000 times. They're not gonna get in the middle of that. Once they approve the contract or the project, it will be approved. So it wouldn't matter if we had 10 community meetings and they all did not want this project, AFA will not withdraw its funding. Mayor, if I may, based off of that conversation with ADFA, I withdraw my motion.
Withdraw your second, Mr. William. The motion and second have been withdrawn. In order to make this process go forward, we would need a motion and a second to approve the signing of the letter of support. Do I have such a motion? Do I have such a motion? For the third and the final time, do I have that motion? Hearing none, it dies for the lack of a motion and a second. So,
Thank you for your time.
thank you. I just explained the Pine Ridge, so I'm pulling it. Moving on, committee reports. We had the Police Commission.
Police Commission had its first meeting.
Insurance have not met, but we will meet, the fourth Thursday. The fourth Tuesday, thank you, fourth Tuesday at 12 o'clock.
Fourth Tuesday.
February.
Yes, sir. The fourth Tuesday in February at.
All right, we have no appointments. Excuse me. Have any announcements that need to be made?
Just in everyone's packet, the announcement on the second CDBG hearing is Monday, 5 o'clock, here in the council chambers.
Is it 5 or 6? Yes, it's 5. It's 5.
I think it's 5.
It is.
Okay. Well, that concludes the business items on our agenda. If there were no additional announcements,